Let's talk. There we go. All right, so my phone holder broke. Normally I'm driving and talking, but my phone holder broke last week, so I got to make videos either when I'm stationary or when I'm outside walking. I need to get one of those like selfie sticks or like a handheld gimbal that like kind of stabilizes the phone while I'm moving and stuff. But you'll get this for now. All right, so I want to make this video. I'm try to keep this right at about 8-9 minutes. I know YouTube likes 10 or more, but ain't really got that kind of time. So this video is about realistic expectations for the lending process. All right, realistic expectations for the lending process. So again, this is another business funding video, and this because this is like business funding or even real estate funding makes up about, I would say, 40 to 60% of the conversations I have. Merchant processing is a smaller amount, and then financial planning is an even smaller amount. But majority of the conversations I have are about lending, whether it's personal loans, auto, business, or mortgage. Okay, that's the majority of the conversations I have. So that's why a lot of the content is geared towards that. I do have content that would be geared towards life insurance. I do, and I plan on putting more of it out. Like I said, I try to do at least 1 or 2 of these a week, just because money in general is a very, very nuanced topic. It's a nuanced subject. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. But expectations for the lending process, especially business lending. Here we go. For business lending in particular, again, I work in an alternative lending space. I will always reiterate that. While the alternative lending space is more forgiving than, say, your traditional banks, they too do still have criteria. There are certain factors that they look for, but they work in gray areas very, very well. So let's say your credit isn't quite a 680. If you got like a 650 with good income, they can find something really, really good for you. There's a lender that'll work with you, all right, especially in your specific industry. Certain industries are more favorable than others, but there are lenders who will work with you and where you're at with your credit. Okay, of course, that's industry specific. We may or may not have one for you. It just depends. We don't know until you apply. All right, and I say we because I say for myself and the team of underwriters that I work with, we don't know till you apply. All right, we don't know till you apply. Underwriters typically don't like to do the reaching out and stuff like that. They'll email me or text me and then say, hey, this is what we got. We shot this over in the email, but call them and, relay this information, or maybe, explain XYZ to said person, okay? So it simply depends. All right, it simply depends. But the credit piece is important. So if your credit isn't right, and this just happened, I actually do have a credit repair program for people who aren't lendable. There are two things that you need. There are two ways to make your business lendable. All right, personal and business credit. You want to work on both. A lot of people are focused on their business credit and not their personal, or vice versa. You want to work on both because both of those are fundings or areas of funding that you can pull from to get even more. So let's say you max out your personal funding. Now you fund your business if you got a bigger project that needs to be fulfilled, or you need a little bit more bottom line because you kind of tapped out one space, but your cash flow will help pay that off real fast. Okay, so you want to work on both. You want to work on your business and your personal credit and cash flow for the business. So either your credit score needs to be high, and or you need to be making at least $10K a month to be considered fundable. Okay, I say and or because if you got the $10K a month piece and the credit ain't there, then we can get you going. But if you don't have the credit or the $10K, it's kind of hard to work with. So I actually do have a credit repair program that I can now offer, or a service basically that I can offer now. Kind of took a minute. I had to find one that I actually like, but I found one that's pretty cool. It works fairly fast, and it's able to get you to a space where you'll be able to get the funding that you want, or at least get a start to getting the kind of funding that you want. Because you may be looking for 300K, but out the gate you might be only qualified for 50. Okay, cool. Get the 50, pay the 50 back. We can refinance you for a bigger amount, or you can pay that off faster, and now you look more favorable in the lending space. And at that point, they'll say, hey, you know what? We'll throw a little bit more at you. So you might go from 50 to 150. You might go from 150 to 225, and then 225 to 300. Okay, it all depends on how favorable you look in the eyes of the lenders. Okay. Again, the alternative lending space is fast. Things fund fast in the alternative lending space, so it's not this process where they drag it out. The only thing that could possibly drag it out is the type of funding you apply for and how much funding you're applying for. Okay. Once you pass a certain threshold, that's when they get the magnifying glass out. Okay. Expectation number 2. Well, not expectation. Yeah, that's expectation number 2. Have your documentation ready. All right. This is the biggest holdup, and I say this to everybody. I said in a text message. I said on recorded videos. I said when I get to talk to people. If you do not send in your documentation with your application, all right. Some applications you can send it in with the application. Some applications don't allow it, and you need to send it to me to send it in. Okay. Without the documentation, they can't underwrite anything. So if you just put in an application and you're waiting on the phone call, they're going to email you. Underwriters don't dial unless they have paperwork. All right, this is my person as a loan consultant. This is my function. My function is to help speed up the process. I will say this over and over again. My function is to help speed up the process. Yes, I can do a little bit of field underwriting. I can. But ultimately, my function is to help speed up the process. So I say all the time, have your paperwork ready. Bare minimum, you need 3 to 4 months of business banking statements. And have 2 years of tax returns ready, okay? If you've been in business for more than 2 years. If you've only been in business for 1 year, have one ready. Typically anything under 250,000, you only need your 4 bank statements. But anything over 250,000, some lenders 350,000, they want to see prior tax returns. All right. So having that stuff ready just means that they're going to look at everything right then and there. A lot of the times you can get a decision the same day. You can get a decision the same day. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to wait weeks for a decision. You can get a decision the same day, and that starts the funding process. You say yes, you DocuSign the paperwork, you good to go. All right? You want to have that paperwork ready. Paperwork, and I cannot stress this enough. I had somebody literally take what was supposed to have been a 1-week process. We talking from A to Z, from initial application to getting funded. They turned this into a 3.5-week process simply because they did not have their paperwork and they did not answer the phone when they were calling, myself included. Paperwork and be by your phone. I'm telling you, that will drastically cut down the amount of time. I'm very, very flexible, so I'll shoot you a text in a heartbeat. I'll call you. I don't like to be on the phone no more than 15, 20 minutes at a time. Unless we're doing like financial planning, that's a little bit more involved. But business funding, merchant processing, personal loans, auto loans, real estate funding, none of that stuff is a drawn out, lengthy conversation. This is, hey, you know, what are you looking for? All right, tell me a little bit about the property. And I'm jotting all this stuff down to give to the underwriters. That way, they already have a snapshot of what it is that they're underwriting. So then it's a little bit more guidance for them. So it's not just like, all right, what is this? Because again, the less phone time we have to have, or the less video chat time we have to have, the faster you get underwritten, and the faster they actually get to underwriting. All right. So preparation and promptness is the name of the game. Expectation number 3, and this is the biggest expectation. You may not get the type of funding that you're looking for right out the gate. I kind of touched on this last time and with my last point, but I'll actually go into detail about it now. You might not get the term loan or the line of credit or the business credit card that you're looking for. You might have to start out, and I'll go ahead and say this, you might have to start out with an MCA loan. Notice I said start out with an MCA loan. So a lot of MCA loans get a lot of, they get a bad rep. They're not horrible. It's simply because people don't have a plan when they get them. So if you get an MCA loan, your goal should be to make your payments on time so that halfway through the term, MCA loans go up to a year, you can refinance into either a lower interest rate or refinance into a whole different solution. It might be the term loan or the line of credit or the credit card that you wanted, okay? But sometimes you have to start at the MCA loan, all right? I'll tell you right now, me personally, that's the last thing I like. That's like a last resort for me. Some loan brokers, some loan consultants like to push the MCA because they fund the fastest. They do. They fund in a day. You don't have to have a legitimate reason for having an MCA. You can just say, hey, I want an MCA for this much. And as long as your cash flow supports it, they give you MCA, all right? So keep that in mind. You may have to start there, but that's not the end goal. Life is going to happen. Have a plan. That's a very, very involved conversation. I actually have a whole video on having a plan once you do get the funding that you're looking for. And this goes for my real estate people too. I have a whole video that I shot. I might need to reshoot it because it was real windy that day. And I was outside while I was talking about it. But I have a whole video specifically for having a plan. But once you get the funding, have a plan to use the money intelligently and get out of it, or use it to leapfrog you into the funding that you're actually looking for. Okay, if you weren't looking for an MCA loan, some people are looking for them, but you may have to start at the MCA loan. All right, so again, I want to set that expectation because some people, I don't want to do MCA. It's like, all right, well, let's do this for a little bit. So, and you got two options with that. Either you can get the amount of money you were looking for with the MCA, or you can get a smaller amount, pay that off so you look more favorable, and then apply for the type of funding that you want. All right? Those are your two options, but you may have to start there, okay? If you have the cash flow to support it, you may have to start there. It's something I like to reiterate. And then also another expectation for 2025, and I wrap this up here, is just to keep your mind and your options open. All right, a lot of times we get in situations where like, oh, I'm not doing this if I can't do that. I'm not doing this if I can't do that. You may have to start somewhere. You might not be able to get the SBA loan. Even though you have everything, you might not just be able to get the SBA loan. So you might just get a regular term loan. Pay that up, have an up year. Use these funds to invest in marketing program. Marketing is the name of the game. You want to stay in people's faces. So if you don't know marketing yourself, find a good marketing program for you to get in on that. And it may even that it needs to be industry specific, but use these funds to actually help build up the business. Use it to drive revenue. All right. You be creative, keep an open mind. It's 2025. The economy is going to be on the up and up. That's just what it is. All right, so it's going to be a very, very prosperous year for a lot of people. It's going to seem tight, but it's not. There's plenty of money out there to be made. But you gotta look at alternatives, okay? You gotta keep your mind open. You gotta be creative. You gotta find new ways to touch the people that you're servicing, no matter what industry you're in, all right? And we can fund all types of industries, so that's that. But with that being said, if you want to apply for business funding, check the page out. Apply. Feel free to apply. It doesn't matter what industry you are. There's a lender for just about every industry, even the cannabis. A lot of people think cannabis can't get funded. Cannabis can definitely get funded, okay? But I'm going to wrap this up. Got a 3 o'clock I got to head into. With that being said, y'all be blessed. Contact information is in the bio. Comments are always open. Let's talk. Looking forward to getting y'all the money y'all need. Out.